but there was some darkness at the club too.
Mm-hmm.
And rarely do I perform and I'm caught off guard. Rarely does where I'm speechless almost and I don't know what to do.
By a heckler.
By a heckler. So first show, Saturday night, it's going pretty good, and all of a sudden I feel a presence on stage. And I look over and there's a white woman on stage and she hands me a phone. Okay? So she goes, someone's calling you. That's what she says. Number one, I think she works for the club.
Yeah.
And number two, Kalila didn't come with me. She was going to come later. She was in Portland with me. She was going to come later, right? So the first thought is, oh my God, Kalila, you know?
Oh,
Because I didn't know. She had already been at the club, but I was on stage when she arrived.
Yeah.
So my first thought is, what the fuck? Something happened at the hotel, you know? So I pick it up and go, hello, hello? And it doesn't work, the phone. And then I look down on it, and it's not even a phone that anyone would use. It's like an 80s gigantic phone that the rich people would have in their car.
It's like a Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Big
phone.
ones.
A huge
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
Which made me feel even more retarded.
Because you
like,
picked it up.
I picked it up and I tried to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which makes me feel.
Yeah.
And then she says, no, it's the 80s. They're calling to get your act back. Their act back.
Yeah.
Like my act was
Yeah.
from the 80s or something. Which,
It makes no sense in the.
I mean, but being sensitive, I'm thinking this is Portland. Ron Funches is from here. You know, maybe this is like, so I'm too, maybe I'm like the Mort Saul of, you know what I mean? Portland. So I go, what? She goes, no, I mean, isn't it funny? That's what she says.
God. Jesus.
So I give her the phone back and I go, leave. And then I didn't, and the room was sold out. I couldn't continue.
You couldn't continue because you were frightened that something had happened. You already had it in your head that something had happened to me or your parents.
Yeah.
So you were in shock. That's why you didn't have a good retort.
Well, regardless of what it was, I didn't have one. So then what I did was, and this used to, I used to use this years back, and sometimes it works, and sometimes you say, I'm going to start over. So I bring Sandy back on stage.
Like,
Right,
as a bit.
right,
Yeah.
and then Sandy brings me back up again, and I just started from my act from the beginning.
It works, right?
No, it didn't work this time
No.
because the other thing was so awkward and weird that they were all frightened almost. Like, this is weird.
Oh shit.
So that didn't work, and then the worst thing was I go, that fat bitch.
I would have laughed at that.
No,
And
because
then
she was really fat.
and the crowd turned
They
on him.
turned on me.
How are they turned on? She just
They-
she fucking interrupted your set,
They
their show.
Like, it could have been a
turned on
bomb.
me. Right? So they were like, oh no. And I go, you fucking betrayers. I screamed at them.
Which then usually makes them laugh.
Didn't laugh.
What the fuck is this crowd?
Right. So now I'm in a situation where I'm in orange. What in the country when it's like terrorist level? What's
red alert or
Orange is pretty high up.
yeah, orange.
Yeah.
I'm in orange alert. Okay. So then I go, I'm just gonna get naked. That's like
So
that's
early?
my, yeah,
So
that's
early?
my, yeah.
5 minutes?
That's my go-to. Every time.
So early.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna get naked. Like remember that movie Red Dawn? Like if Russia attacked or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I was captured. That's what I would do. Just get completely naked.
It's a coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism, it's a defense mechanism, and also they maybe like it.
might
So they
laugh,
won't kill
yeah.
me, and they'll just leave me use me as a court gesture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's my
Jester.
if there's jester,
Jester.
right?
Yeah.
That's my go-to. I want to be the court jester.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then it was weird. It got a laugh at the end. I got backstage, and then I was in a red zone, and I feel so bad. But when I'm in a red zone, I just start fucking mouthing off. Were you there?
I was already there.
Yeah, and then I get the manager,
Mm.
and then I say all kinds of stuff like, I'm never going to play her again. I'm going to call Mark the owner. I mean, all kinds of stuff, which to them is the worst thing that anyone can say. They just start panicking, which I'm not going to do any of that really in real life. But
Do you think then that there should always be someone on guard watching the show who takes care of a heckler who walks up on stage, because to me as
Security?
a performer, yeah, just, and not even security, but someone who can delegate a room a little bit better. When you see a woman walk on stage with a contraption, that to me is that I would be on the
Dangerous,
defense,
yeah.
too. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, bitch! Like, I don't know you. You're in my space.
Also, I know certain performers.
But she was crying outside.
And then
Wait, what?
Yeah.
She
Get the
cried.
So she's
Fuck outta
crying
here.
outside, saying, "He called me fat."
Oh my god!
I know, right?
You gotta be kidding me right now.
No, I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
So not only that, she fucks up my show, right?
Blames it on you.
She blames it on me,
Yeah.
and then she's accusing me of calling her fat, which I did,
Yeah.
and I apologize.
Yeah, but she
I'm
got up.
sorry for calling you fat, but let me tell you something. If you didn't come up on stage, I wouldn't even know who you were, and I would never call you fat.
Good lesson learned for her, though. You can't heckle like that on a show. This isn't an interactive experience,
It's
bitch.
not only that, and this stand-up is the only live entertainment like show, right, where they just stuff like that happens and no one gives a shit. Like if that happened, if you're watching Wicked on Broadway, the Green Witch is on stage singing a little tune. I don't know what it is. I
No
don't know.
one mourns the
Yeah,
wicked.
that right.
I know.
And then
course
some
you know it.
fat redheaded chick from Portland walks up with a fucking phone. What do you think that would happen? What
She
would
would get
happen?
tackled and dragged by.
Yes, and that's what I
Security.
wanted, but that didn't happen.
Clubs don't do that.
They don't do that. In fact, they don't. No one gets in trouble. She didn't get in trouble. Like if somebody walked out on Wicked and Broadway,
Oh,
they would get arrested.
probably at cops, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah.
honestly, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. That's also too far. I'm fine. Okay, but my concern is this: is that I always yell because someone like Brian Regan, who is probably one of the best comics in the country, and I know the guy, he doesn't like dealing with audience in that way. He does his act. If people yell it out, he doesn't, especially in the early days, never really acknowledged it. He just kept going. And that's what it's supposed to be. Because of all these B rooms. See, what happened in the 90s was comedy became it was a boom in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. You could turn on the TV. Well, first of all, in the 80s, it became such a thing that every town had 5 or 6 comedy clubs. You could make millions of dollars.
Damn.
But what that did was it made, your next door neighbor want to do it. So then you had a bunch of people that shouldn't be doing it in the fucking first place, doing it. And then all of a sudden, in the 90s, it died. But because you had such bad comics doing it, the audiences, right, they didn't know how to behave. So when a B room is really awful for...
What's a B room? Explain to everyone what a B room is.
B rooms aren't bad. I've done them before. I used to do them all the time. But basically, they're clubs that have more road comics. So a road comic is somebody that really has never been on TV. They just kind of do the road from gig to gig. And their jokes are generally about airplanes, driving, things that are like more
Meat and potatoes.
meat and potatoes, observational. But a lot of them also are very dirty, and they also like riffing with the crowd. They go in and, it's combative sometimes. Some of them have catchphrases like Shucky Ducky. You know who that is?
What's that?
There was a comic named Shucky Ducky, road comic. And he would tell a joke, and in between the jokes, he would go, Shucky Ducky, quack, quack. Right? But the crowd would go, Shucky Ducky, quack, quack with him. Right? And he would sell out because it was a bunch of, it's African Americans, loved him.
Interactive, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's Shucky Ducky, quack, quack.
Shucky ducky,
So they go,
quack, quack.
baby, Shucky Duck, Shucky Ducky's coming. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, is that a bad accent? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
There's another one named Hamburger.
What does he do?
He goes, hamburger. And the whole audience goes, hamburger. And they giggle.
People like this?
Yeah, they love it. They said they sell out. But because of that, you know what I mean? You go on stage and they go, gook time, say it. And I gook time's on my catchphrase.
Wrong comedian.
But do it. No.
That's not mine.
And then halfway during your show, you find yourself going, gook time. You know what I mean? Yeah, and everyone's going, gook time, right? And because audiences are conditioned to do that. But like an A room has guys like Kevin Nealon, guys that have been on television, Tonight Show, have reps. They have you know, it's an A-list A room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that sad to say?
No, because
No.
that's a real thing. B rooms exist. They're
Yeah.
called B rooms.
Yeah, they're called it. It's
in
not
the
like
in the comedy community. That's what they're called.
So it's not the actual room; it's more the people on the lineup.
but the
makes it-
problem with
and they don't pay their performers a lot of money. A lot of
they
times
pay them $100 a show.
They treat them
Headliner.
like shit, and the performers have to pay for their own food. They're not taken care of, really.
Oh, that really.
They're not
Yeah.
put up, right?
Yeah.
You find your way here. You know what I mean? So you get in a car.
A
and you go-
rooms are different. We'll pick you up from the airport. We'll pay you this amount.
Flight, hotel.
Everything. It's like
You
it's
do
the whole package.
press.
They treat their performers
You get
well.
a percentage of the door. You know, it's just the way it should be. Because it's the hardest thing one can do. And if you can do it, I'm not saying that I'm talented. I'm just saying that I've been doing it for 20 years. And it's like, you know, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make money. I want to make money. And Harvey's was a club in Portland for 30 years. It was a B room. Helium wasn't there, the place I played. And what happens is if you only have one comedy club in a city and it's a B room, that's what they're used to.
To the people, the audience is conditioned to be
like the
rowdy
like the heckling
and
and all that.
heckle,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
and to treat the performers the way the club treats them, which is like shit.
Like shit.
Oh.
Okay. So 5 years ago, Helium opens, which is an A room, but it was so difficult to play. I was there the first 6 months it opened. And I remember on stage every time going, oh, I'm never playing here again. This is terrible. But then this next time I came, I gave it another shot. It was better. And then over the years, you see it, and now it's a legitimate, amazing room.
It's a great club.
But first of all, the Portland, I mean, it's one of those cities where you want to move there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are people that look like you, not in terms of Asians, but in terms of like hipstery, like, you know, they can
They
teach
wear
you
raw
things about.
denim.
Yeah, they can teach you about music and raw denim
Bicycles.
and bicycles.
Is it very much like Silver Lake?
Yeah, they have great donuts, like hipstery donuts, where they put like pork bits in
Basil.
it and
Ooh,
basil.
and a donut.
Right.
Yeah. Blueberry basil from Blue Star.
Yeah, so it's a city that should have many A rooms. Ron Funches is from there. I'm not saying that lightly. Ron Funches is a black dude who's the future,
He's funny.
very funny. So, you know, but, you know, that happened Saturday.